So I guess we'll have to videotape this for YouTube. And the reason is because computers are stupid. And why I say stupid, every time I want to go online to do my webcast, because this stuff can't wait. If I'm actually making wax, it can't wait. So this modern technology sits there and looks at you stupidly because it doesn't work. The equipment that Microsoft comes out and just shows you that Bill Gates is an idiot. It really does. It shows you that Bill Gates is a freaking idiot. So, what we're going to do here is I have this just on a Sony cam here, so we will be making cylinder wax here. We'll see where we're at for temperature. I actually unplugged it because we want to get it up to 170 is where we're aiming for, is 170. So, let's see where we're at. Yeah, we're like at 193, so that should have woke up. We actually got to wait for it to go down in temperature. 193.6. And that is the reason why I pretty much got to unplug it. Because it's hot. But that's good. Because it has no moisture in it now. And in case you're wondering, the actual danger zone is like up by 270. We're way away from that, and we don't even have it plugged in, so we're good. We'll wait for it to get to 170, and we got plenty of time. The mold's been in the oven for half an hour, which is really all that the mold needs to do is be in for half an hour. Since my webcam is not going to be working, I am going to put this Handycam, it's a Sony Handycam, on the tripod. What's bad is I can't find my charger for the Handycam. But if the computer goes online, we'll go online and then we'll put this on YouTube later. Sorry, I'm attaching the deal to go into the tripod here. Okay. So now you have a better view of what we're doing here. We'll just have to make sure the batteries last. But hopefully our computer will be up and running by then. I have the proper plug and everything for the camcorder. I just don't know where it is at this time. I'll have to be finding that. So we're going to do another temperature check. And I want to show you why this is I'm going to move this out of the way so I'm less clumsy. So this is the last cylinder we made out of this batch. And I have done nothing to it since you saw me shave it and shape it and everything. And if you notice, it is bright and shiny. That is excellent. Many times a lot of newer blanks become dull after a while. And that is something you don't want. And it seems that using beeswax as a temper has very good properties all around. It gives a quieter surface noise, a nice bright, clear recording, and also doesn't fog. So those are all really good things. And we don't have dendrites in this particular batch. We don't know how it will turn out today, because every day the humidity is different and everything. And our blank today that we make should be darker than that blank, because I've tried to ingrain this into the knowledgeable collectors, but there really isn't anybody that knowledgeable, maybe just like 3 people, who really know anything about the actual wax formula itself. Because unless you actually make it, you can conjecture all you want, but when you actually do it, it's a lot of work, and and there's always new stuff to be learned while making it. In fact, I've been working on this formula for about 21 years now. Since about 2000 is when I first started molding cylinders, and I've molded about over 2,000 pounds now of wax cylinders. So I could tell you that it takes a lot of work to learn everything there is to learn about making wax cylinders. So I'm letting see where we're going. The thermocouple is starting to heat up, so we know where we're at. Well, we're getting down there. We're at 185.5 at this point. So we're getting near where we want to be to mold the cylinder. What I can do is now I can turn the thermocouple and see where it turns on. You don't want it to turn on at this point. So we're turning it way down here. The idea is you're supposed to slowly turn it up until you see. Okay, that's where it comes on. So we want to go down a little bit. So this is our wax crucible. Oh, that smell. This is the best smelling wax I've ever made, I think. It just smells so good. It smells like crayons and beeswax, which is an excellent smell. So, I'm going to conserve battery power, and I'll show you our next stage. And yes, we are recording in Dolby Stereo. So that's kind of fun. The wax is really, really nice. As I showed you, the cylinder is just fantastic. If you go back to our last video, I test this blank, and it has all the qualities of an excellent blank. It's totally excellent. This time, though, we are going to leave it in the mold an actual whole hour this time. And the reason is to make sure we have that spiral, that nice spiral in the record. And I got everything ready for when we do pour it. I got plenty of gloves and everything. I'm going to do, let's see, okay, it's not lighting up, so that's good. See where we're at for temperature. It's best to let this thermocouple dangle in the wax, just kind of swirl it around, and then we'll see where we're at. Between 170 and 175 is a good place to be. And we're about there, so pretty soon we'll take the mold out. We're at 176.2. $74. So yeah, we're about where we want to be now. I'm gonna bring it up. Right there, just to make sure that we have enough heat there, and we'll be bringing the mold out in just a bit. Sorry that we don't have to have a YouTube live audience today, and the reason is because our technology wanted to update, which left us not working. Because I don't know if any of you have McAfee as a virus protection thing, but if McAfee is updating, your computer just doesn't work. It doesn't want to do anything. So in a way, the antivirus acts as a virus, because it won't let you do anything. It's like, oh, I'm important, more important than what you're doing, so I'm not going to let you do anything. And you know, computers become useless when you cannot use them at the time that you want to use them. So we will do this in little parts. I guess I'll have to edit this together for YouTube, because we'll have to edit the parts together. I'm sorry, I looked in the we're trying to work here, and our temperature is good. So it's time to take the mold out of the oven. Shut it off. I had it at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. The mold preheat, so the mold will be there. And this is the reservoir for the mold. This darn table out of the way. Okay. So put our reservoir on top, like this. And we have our little stand here. So what we'll do is we'll take the mold and put it to the side here as much as we can. Put this in place. Okay. As long as your mold's not cold, you're in good shape. So I put the mold there. It's a good place for it to be. Put a reservoir on top. Put our funnel. We have a filter that has has bronze gauze in it, bronze filters, several layers of. There's 3 layers of bronze filters, and the idea is to get rid of as much particulate matter as possible. And this I want to be as tight as possible. So that right down into there. I also have to be able to hear that it's above the mandrel. So we know that our temperature is good. Well, let's take a good... We know that we're in the 170s. As long as we're above 170, we're good. And we are. I could tell also by looking at the wax that we're just right. Because it's got steam coming off, but yet it's placid. So now we're going to fill up the mold here. Okay, I just got to make sure that I'm above the mandrel. And I am well above the mandrel here. Okay. So now we're back, and as you see, we have the mold filled with wax. I don't know if we can see down in the mold, but yes, you can. You can see the wax in the mold. That it's well above our knob, and we have our timer set for 1 hour. So in an hour we will pull the wax. Of course, we won't have this camcorder on for an hour. So this is our wax compound. We have plenty for more cylinders to come. So we'll get several cylinders out of this batch. That's the great thing about it. And as I said, these are really great cylinders. I really think they turned out very nice. Okay, so I tried to go online, and this thing is just sitting there. I don't know if I am online or not. This is a really horrible computer. It's just, modern technology sucks. Whoever designed it, you could tell that they're Democrats, because they certainly don't know what they're doing. So, I don't know. Now my old computer, which comes from Illinois Institute of Technology, it works pretty darn good. But they don't make USB cables long enough to come in here. So I guess what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the mold here. I have my mandrel ready and everything. So I'm just going to go back up here a little bit. You can actually see the mold. Put my gloves on. We got about 7 minutes. We're not going to push anything. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the reservoir off because that wax should be good and good and ready to remove. You notice that it shrunk away from the sides of the reservoir already. So we're just going to cut this away. We'll see the properties of the record. So basically an hour's gone by, and it's still pretty plasticky yet. It's good enough. So we should get a decent spiral out of it. So we'll kind of go around here and cut that. Color's really nice. And of course, with that big of a wax plug on top, there is no, of course there's no air bubbles at all, because the pressure pushed all of the air bubbles out. And so there should be none. The wax looks really nice. It's a nice, even darker color than the last time. So next, we gotta wait for it to naturally pour it. And yeah, it'll be fine because the mandrel's hot. That's why we wait 60 minutes, a whole hour for it. And we just got a few more minutes left. And I don't know if we're going live or not because obviously the computer is just being a silly computer. It's not working right. So we'll just have to do it by raw video and upload it, and I'll have to edit it together. I thought there was something wrong with my HD, but what happened is it was so focused in that it was like, ooh, that's kind of cool. Look at that. That's neat. See the little plug that was in the... see how... When they say, what consistency was the wax when you removed it from the mold? They'd say, well, a consistency like putty. In fact, I'm going to put that in this to give you an idea. We're not going to mold it like the original ones, because the original ones are actually forced the outside of the mold off. And the mold was probably thinner than the one we're using, or one that probably has a thicker mash than the ones that they used in the 1890s. Nobody knows. I've never seen a real one. There were some ones made by a person who worked at the Edison plant, but he made the molds years later. I'm just undoing that right now. So we got about 4 minutes left before we demold. And I'll show you that the wax is like a putty consistency. See how that is? It even took an impression of the hatching that's around the top. It is molded into the wax. And there's a little bit of the spiral that's on the top of the wax inside of it. But it is... You see how it's plasticky? That's the consistency of the wax in the mold at this time. You notice it doesn't really fracture easily either. That means our materials are right. The materials are good too, because that's how it was. There's even the little where the center went in the mold, or to make the mold the center. So there it is in the cap, the wax cap on top. This wax is just it's kind of addictive smelling wax. It's very, very good wax as far as the smell goes. We'll see. One thing I can do right now is I can actually turn the mandrel down. Before we actually take it out, we can turn the mandrel down. So I bring it up like this, then I turn the mandrel in. Well, actually it looks like it's going to be made like an original one. So we're actually good to demold it, I guess, this time. And that's fine. We'll do that. We'll demold it. Hopefully it'll come off. So we'll see if we can get it to come off the mold here. I have it lubricated. So let's see if we can. Yeah, I think we'll be fine. Demolding it now, actually. So it looks like about 50 minutes. Well, actually, it's been an hour. So I can actually ream it a little bit, like this. See how this goes? This is actually, according to this is made like the original. This is how they made them. So, see how I am going in to the record first? That's basically releasing it. And now, I am going to take the core out very carefully so I get a nice spiral. We should have an excellent spiral in this record. And I just got it out enough with that. Now, I'm very carefully making sure I don't strip the threads. And yes, this one is like an original. This one is very much like the original brown wax records. So we can see it's a very nice casting, and it's very hot. The guys actually removed them with a buckskin glove. So this one actually, with our tying today, our molding temperatures, our preheat temperatures, were actually the same, and so it's 55 minutes to actually shrink. So now we gotta put it on this core and let it shrink further. So we're gonna put it on this core here, and it's going to shrink for like 10 minutes. So I'm gonna set our timer for 10 minutes, and what that does is it helps to keep the record from warping. So I'm going to set this for 10 minutes, and I'm going to come back and we will film that then. So what we did here, the 10 minutes, is we put the blank onto a wooden core. So we know that about an hour works for timing. And we were going to go live on YouTube, but that didn't happen. But that's okay. We should get a good video with proper editing. And this actually is in Dolby Stereo. It is Dolby Digital Creator Stereo. And that's pretty neat. I kind of like that. It has a decent microphone on it. It doesn't always have the best consonants, but it's pretty good. So there is our record from the mold. And it successfully came off of the core. Okay, so this is our finished blank casting, rough casting. And looks very nice, especially for one that was done the original way. And this was done the way where you actually unscrew it off of the mandrel, the same as the original way they did it in the 1890s. Okay, so like they did in the 1890s, this is made the original way, where it unscrewed off of the mandrel. It actually shrank away from the sides of the mold and shrank onto the mandrel. this is tempered with beeswax. And I'm just wondering if they didn't, but I'm pretty sure I don't smell beeswax in the formula of an original blank. They wanted to use beeswax, but it was too expensive for commercial production because they would have to buy thousands of pounds of beeswax and it'd just be very expensive. Now today, in some ways, there are some beekeepers that don't really know what to do with all the beeswax. So your local beekeeper might actually be your cheapest option of temper. And in my opinion, it's the best temper. What I mean by temper is that it keeps moisture out of the wax and it aids in the cutting action. And it seems to do this the best. And also, the chips falls away from it. It doesn't really get stuck to the blank. This has a high amount of aluminum. It has 0.5% aluminum. I go to the original formula, or the formula that I used to create it. So now we take it off of the wooden core. We give it a couple wraps here, and it should pop off. Okay, so that worked. Didn't hurt the blank any, and so there we go. And what I really like about this one that came out with better than the other one we made is that it actually has that nice spiral core in it. Like it should. Which will be more pronounced when it actually dries. So we're going to take a mandrel and we'll check and see where it fits in there. And this should shrink nicely. See? It's right in the middle with our, in fact, it's way down to this end, which means that it should be perfect. That should be absolutely great when it finally shrinks. And the color, we can show that the color has gotten darker with the cooking of this batch. You can see a difference in color. This is the same batch of wax, by the way. The same batch. And this cylinder is lighter than this one. This is number 2 out of the batch. This is number 1 out of the batch. So I hope you've learned something from this. And I've learned a lot from it because I think that this is the finest wax that I've made ever. And that's pretty exciting. So we'll keep the blanks coming. I hope this week to get the rest of this wax molded into more blanks and continue to use this formula. And if you notice that out of the mold, that even though nothing's been done to the surface is nice and shiny. There's no fogging or anything. And it has that very original look to it. As I said, this is a rough blank, and it is actually quite thick. So I have all this film that shows what we need to know and remember about making this wax. So thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed what you saw, please smash that like button and tell your collector friends. And also teachers who teach school, chemists. There's chemistry that is involved in here that's very interesting for your chemistry class. So this is Sean Borey signing off, and I hope that you have enjoyed what we've prepared for you today. That's kind of funny. Now this is not a very good caliper. This is retired, a very old retired set, but at least it does zero out. And I want to tell you what the size of these are. I have actually a new set of I have 2 different sets. This is the bad set. So the diameter is 2.3503. 3.503. Excuse me, make that 3.5, yeah, 505 actually. 3.505. So you can tell that the blanks come out very much thicker than a finished blank. A regular blank that you use on your phonograph is between 2.180 and 2.150 usually when you get a blank. An original unused blank is around 2.180. An original commercial record is 2.170 to about 2.140 is the size of the recordings. So I thank you for watching and have a great day. And again, smash that like button. You've learned something new.